Good afternoon, Globe, and it is back here at the cooking zone of the Doomstead Diner, and it is time to do the most fun part of cooking or preparing a dish, which is the actual cooking of it, there's, most of the time, wow, I hit that pretty hard. Most of the time, you spend in preparation and in cleanup and eating, of course. And the cooking time is actually quite short. So, in this case, that's going to be true, because we're going to actually cook the chicken liver and get it ready to put in with the to make the pate. So let's get our stove lit up. And turn on the gas and use our spectacular brass lighter. There we go. That doesn't take long, right? And shut up. And hopefully I won't get the same beeping that I got when I was doing my omelet earlier. I think I was hitting some button somewhere. Not sure where. Alright, so I am doing this chicken liver cooking in a nice cast iron Logic. I will give them a plug because they make really good cookware. Although I do have some other cast iron cookware from other companies that are, basically just as good and cheaper. Logic stuff is expensive. So I'm doing it in this cast iron pan. Mainly for looks. You could do this procedure in about any pan whatsoever. A modern Teflon or ceramic pan. It really wouldn't make a whole hell of a lot of difference. You're not going to want the main time that I use a cast iron pot is if I want it screaming hot, which, when I cook meats, usually that's what I want. But in the case of chicken livers, I don't want that, and I'm going to get screaming hot if I'm not careful. So I'm now going to add, besides the butter, I'm going to add a little cooking oil, and that does not have to be any kind of special oil at all. I'm just using some Crisco vegetable oil. Don't use an expensive oil for this. It's just totally unnecessary. And our next procedure is to is to caramelize up some onions to go with the liver. And let's throw a few in there. And let's throw a few more. Oops, I don't need those big pieces. I just want the little ones. Alright, that is probably enough onions for this batch of livers. And actually I have 3 batches of livers that I've got to do here, because I decided that I would go on a canning spree and make. I was just going to make 1 pint of liver pate, but I decided here that since I'm taking the time to do the canning, and I got to get the pressure cooker out and all the rest of that, that I should do more than 1 pint. So that's what I'm doing. So there's I've got more work off camera to do than just what you're seeing. So our onions now are caramelizing pretty nicely, and you don't want it to go too fast once again. So we're going to lower the heat a little bit, and we're almost in a position now where it's time to throw in our chicken livers to get them going. Now, once the chicken livers are in, this is the mission critical part of your liver pate, or cooking chicken livers in general, or any liver really. You leave liver in too long, it gets bitter. And it's too short, well, you know, rare or raw liver is not pleasant, really. Liver in general is you know, fairly difficult meat or part of the beef to cook, and maybe that's why people don't use it or cook it that often. I don't know, but I think we're in a good position now to add our liver. So we're going to do that. Once the liver is in there, then, you know, you're talking 5 to 10 minutes of time to get it cooked properly, so it's not too rare, but also not too overdone. And we'll see how we do. Okay, here we go. And there goes the liver. Oh, listen to that sizzle, right? That is sizzling. And that's just one of 3 of these packages of liver that I've got to cook up. I got quite a bit of this stuff here that needs to get done. And what did I do with my spatula? Oh, there it is. Listen to that sizzle. I love the sizzle and the smell here, which unfortunately for you, you can't experience through the magic of the internet, at least yet, is just scrumptious. This is going to be a great liver pate, I hope. And we'll also get to see how great it is in 6 months or so after I can it, because that is a big part of this exercise in cooking, is to demonstrate to some of my critics that I actually do know what the fuck I'm doing in the kitchen, which they don't believe. And, you know, there are a million reasons for that, and I'm not going to go into them. Now, you see all the liquid that's coming out here. And that is coming from the meat. And it's going to boil off here. I'm going to let most of it boil off. And then the liver and the onions will be pretty much ready to go into the food processor to smush up into a pate with the other ingredients, which if you have been following along here, include mainly butter and cream cheese in this case. Oh, and also I'm adding some hot sausage to the arrangement to spice it up, and also because the hot sausage has some preservatives in it that are going to be helpful in keeping my canned liver pate healthy for me to eat when I finally crack it open in 6 months or so. I'm going to eat a good portion of it. Right after I cook it and chill it, because it's not going to be any better than when it's fresh. That's really when it's going to be ideal. And I'm really looking forward to it, because I have not had a good liver pate since I moved up to Alaska. There just isn't anywhere around here that sells a good pate. No Jewish delis, and so forth. There's not even any good regular delis, German delis, whatever. The only delis you get are in the food superstores, and they're generic and garbage. They have boar's head meats, which are overcooked and not very pleasant. I don't buy them, so you have to, if you're going to want this stuff, you got to make it yourself, right? But prior to doing the cooking show here, the cooking zone, I did not have motivation to actually make myself some liver pate. But now I've got the motivation. And so that's what's going to happen, right? Or it's happening as we speak, or as we watch. Now, these guys are done, just about. They are, if I leave them in there any longer, they are going to be overdone and not good. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to get off the air with you guys and get these guys ready to go into the processor. And then I got 2 more batches of the stuff to do before we get to the next step. So that's all the cooking doom here on the cooking zone of the Doomstead Diner. This time, until next time, in the world of collapse. Later.